In a bustling city, a young boy, Ethan, stumbles upon a broken-down car on a rain-soaked street. His clothes are worn, his shoes are barely hanging on, but his spirit is intact. He notices the luxury vehicle, gleaming despite the drizzle, and its owner, a woman, is stuck in the rain, looking lost and frustrated. Her name is Mia, a successful independent businesswoman. Without hesitation, Ethan offers his help, even though he doesn't have much to his name. Mia, skeptical at first, reluctantly agrees, unsure if he knows what he's doing. But as he begins working under the hood, she watches in surprise as his hands move with a confidence she wasn't expecting. Mia watches Ethan closely, intrigued by his natural ability to fix things. His hands work swiftly and with purpose. She asks him questions about how he learned to repair cars, and he tells her about his father, a mechanic who passed away when Ethan was young. He learned from watching him and helping out at a young age. His story tugs at her heart, and she starts to see past the boy's appearance, noticing the quiet determination in his eyes. With a few final adjustments, Ethan wipes his hands on his worn-out jeans and proudly informs her that the car is ready to go. Mia is impressed. She hadn't expected him to actually fix the problem. As she gets into the car, she offers him money, but Ethan shakes his head. "I don't do this for money," he says softly. He had no intention of accepting payment. Mia insists, but Ethan remains firm, telling her that the joy of helping is enough. Mia is taken aback. She's used to people wanting something in return. This boy's selflessness is something she's rarely encountered. Finally, she offers him something else, an invitation to dinner at a local restaurant. Ethan hesitates for a moment, unsure, but then agrees. The cafe is cozy, warm, and intimate, a stark contrast to the cold, lonely streets Ethan is used to. He sits across from Mia, the soft glow of candles casting a gentle light over her features. She asks about his life, what drives him, what his dreams are. Ethan's answer is simple. "I just want to make my family proud." Mia, sensing the quiet ambition behind his words, wonders if he's capable of more than he's letting on. She finds herself intrigued, drawn to his humility and passion. As they talk, laughter fills the air, and she feels an unexpected connection. Maybe it's the vulnerability in his eyes, or the way he seems to see the world differently, but there's something about him she can't shake. As the evening wears on, the conversation takes a more personal turn. Mia finds herself opening up to Ethan in ways she hasn't with anyone in a long time. She tells him about the pressure of being a successful businesswoman, the sacrifices she's made, and the loneliness that comes with her position. Ethan listens intently, offering comfort in his own quiet way. Mia realizes how rare it is to find someone who listens without judgment. Ethan, too, feels something stirring within him, an attraction to this woman who seems so different from anyone he's ever known. There's an unspoken connection that feels like it could bloom into something more. After dinner, Mia offers to give Ethan a ride home. He reluctantly agrees, not wanting to impose. As they drive through the city, Mia's mind wanders. She thinks about how different their worlds are, yet how connected she feels to him. She invites him to a party the next evening, a gathering of the city's elite, something she knows he would never normally attend. Ethan is hesitant, feeling out of place among people like that, but Mia insists, "Come, just for a while. You might be surprised." He agrees, though he has no idea what he's getting himself into. The next evening, Ethan finds himself standing outside a mansion, feeling completely out of his element. The glittering lights and extravagant decorations are worlds away from the small apartment he calls home. As he walks into the ballroom, the contrast between his humble appearance and the designer suits around him is striking. Mia, however, greets him warmly, and he's quickly swept into conversations he doesn't understand. But he does his best to fit in. He's more focused on Mia than anything else, watching her move through the crowd like she owns the room. He wonders how someone like him could ever belong in her world. As the night goes on, Ethan grows increasingly uncomfortable with the pretentious atmosphere. He stands at the edge of the room, watching Mia laugh and talk with others, feeling like an outsider. But then, she spots him. Her eyes lock with his, and she excusing herself from the group to join him. She gently places a hand on his arm, reassuring him that he belongs. In that moment, the rest of the world fades away. It's just the two of them, sharing a moment that feels real and grounded in a sea of facades. Ethan smiles, grateful for her kindness, and Mia realizes she's more drawn to him than she thought possible. Mia takes Ethan's hand and leads him outside to the garden, away from the clamor of the party. The cool night air is a welcome relief, and the stars above shine brightly. Mia encourages Ethan to dance with her. At first he hesitates, unsure of how to move, but Mia's gentle guidance soon puts him at ease. They dance slowly, the world around them fading as they focus only on each other. Ethan's heart races, not just because of the moment, but because of the way Mia's eyes sparkle under the moonlight. There's something magnetic between them, an undeniable pull. Just as the dance begins to feel like a dream, a loud voice interrupts them. Mia's business partner, Richard, appears, looking disapprovingly at the sight of Mia and Ethan. He scoffs and makes a pointed comment about how out of place Ethan seems, attempting to embarrass him in front of the guests. Mia, however, stands firm. Ethan is more than capable of handling himself. "He's not like the people you're used to," she says, her voice calm but firm. The tension in the air thickens, and Ethan's face reddens with embarrassment. But Mia doesn't back down. Mia's words hang in the air as Richard's eyes narrow, clearly not happy with the situation. But Mia isn't backing down. She turns to Ethan and takes a deep breath, her voice low but steady. "I have something I want to tell you," she says. "I'm not just a businesswoman. I've been watching you, Ethan, and I know you've got so much more potential than you realize. I want to help you. I want to give you a chance." Ethan, stunned, tries to process her words. What could she possibly want with someone like him? But before he can say anything, Mia's gaze softens, and she continues, "I believe in you." Mia's offer takes Ethan by surprise. She wants to invest in him, help him achieve his dreams, and give him the opportunity to do something bigger with his life. He feels conflicted, torn between his pride and the opportunity in front of him. As they stand there under the stars, Ethan looks at her with wide eyes, the weight of her offer settling on him. Mia places a hand on his shoulder, looking into his eyes with sincerity. "You don't have to do this alone," she says softly. "I'm here for you." Ethan's heart races, not just from the offer, but from the growing attraction he feels toward her. As the days go by, Ethan and Mia continue to spend time together. They talk, laugh, and get to know each other more deeply. Ethan begins to realize that his feelings for Mia have grown beyond admiration. He's falling for her. Hard. He tries to ignore it at first, not wanting to complicate things, but every time she smiles at him, every time their hands brush, his heart skips a beat. Mia, too, feels something she can't ignore. She starts to wonder if the person she's been searching for all her life has been standing right in front of her all along. One evening, as they share a quiet moment by the lake, Mia turns to Ethan, her eyes searching his face. "I don't know what this is, Ethan," she admits, her voice trembling slightly, "but I can't stop thinking about you." Ethan, heart pounding in his chest, takes a step closer. "I feel the same way," he whispers. And then, without hesitation, their lips meet in a kiss that feels like everything. Everything they've been waiting for. Everything they've been afraid to acknowledge. The world fades away as they finally give in to the feelings they've been denying. But just as their relationship deepens, Ethan discovers something that shakes him to his core. Mia is not just a businesswoman, she is the heir to a multi-million-dollar empire. Her family's wealth and influence are much more than he ever imagined. He feels overwhelmed and out of his league, doubting his own worthiness. Mia notices his sudden distance and confronts him, asking if he's regretting his decision to get involved with her. Ethan hesitates, but tells her the truth. He feels like he doesn't belong in her world. Mia, hurt but understanding, reassures him that none of it matters. Only the two of them do. Ethan struggles with the weight of his fears, but as he stands before Mia, he makes a decision. He loves her, and he's not going to let his insecurities stand in the way. He admits his feelings, telling her that no matter how much he feels like an outsider, he wants to build a life with her. Mia, her eyes filled with love, smiles and takes his hand. "You've always belonged in my world," she says softly. Together, they walk into the future, ready to face whatever challenges come their way. Months later, Ethan's life has transformed. With Mia's help, he starts his own business, a car repair shop that becomes incredibly successful. His reputation grows, and he begins to gain recognition in the industry. But throughout it all, he never forgets the woman who believed in him when no one else did. Mia's presence in his life has brought him more than just success. It's brought him love and happiness he never thought possible. Ethan and Mia's relationship flourishes, and their love continues to grow stronger with each passing day. They travel the world together, building their dreams side by side. Ethan knows that he never would have made it this far without Mia's unwavering belief in him, and Mia realizes that sometimes the best things in life come in unexpected packages. Together, they've created a life full of love, adventure, and endless possibilities. As Ethan's car repair shop flourishes, an unexpected challenge arises. A major rival mechanic, Vincent, opens a nearby shop and starts to take customers away from Ethan. Vincent is arrogant and brash, often mocking Ethan's humble beginnings. This new competition puts a strain on Ethan's confidence, and he begins to question if his success is enough to compete in the fast-paced, high-stakes world of business. Mia notices the change in him, and, sensing his struggle, takes him aside one evening after work. She speaks with calm strength, encouraging him not to let fear dictate his actions. "You've already proven yourself, Ethan. Now it's about showing everyone that you're not just some kid from the streets. You're capable of anything." Her unwavering belief in him reignites the fire in his heart, and he resolves to face this challenge head-on. One evening, as Ethan locks up his shop after a long day, he finds an unexpected letter slipped under the door. It's a handwritten note, praising his skills as a mechanic and encouraging him to keep going. The letter is unsigned, but the message resonates deeply with him. At first, he wonders if it's Mia, though something about the handwriting feels unfamiliar. Over the next few days, he receives more notes, each one growing more personal and encouraging. Ethan becomes obsessed with discovering who the mysterious admirer is, but the notes leave only cryptic clues. His thoughts constantly drift to Mia, and he begins to wonder if perhaps she's the one behind it all, motivating him silently. But as the mystery deepens, he realizes that no matter who it is, the true source of his strength has always been his own heart, and the love that Mia has inspired in him. Things come to a head when Vincent's shop suddenly sabotages Ethan's business. A fire breaks out in Ethan's shop one night, and the damage is devastating. The authorities are investigating, and it's clear that someone intentionally started the fire. Mia is heartbroken for Ethan, seeing the pain and frustration in his eyes. As she holds him through the storm of emotions, she makes a promise to him. We will rebuild this together. Ethan, exhausted and overwhelmed, feels like his world is crumbling. But Mia's words give him strength. With her support, he vows to fight back and make things right. The next morning, they both stand outside the charred remnants of his shop, holding hands, ready to take on whatever comes next. In the midst of rebuilding his shop, Ethan has an epiphany about the deeper bond he shares with Mia. On a quiet evening, as they work side by side, he turns to her with a determined look in his eyes. "Mia," he begins, his voice thick with emotion, "you've always been there for me. I don't just want you by my side in business. I want you in my life. For real. All of it. Forever." Mia, taken by surprise, stares at him, her heart racing as she realizes what he's saying. The intensity of his gaze speaks volumes, and she knows she feels the same. "I love you, Mia," Ethan confesses. Mia's heart leaps, and with tears in her eyes, she finally admits, "I've loved you since that night we first met." They embrace, their lips meeting in a kiss that seals their commitment to each other, to a future together, one they'll build from the ashes of everything they've endured. After the fire, Ethan finds himself at an emotional crossroads. His shop, once a symbol of his hard work and dreams, is now a pile of rubble. The financial strain is overwhelming, and for the first time, Ethan feels like he might not be able to bounce back. He spends long nights in the wreckage of his shop, surrounded by the smell of smoke and memories of everything he's worked for. Mia, sensing the despair in him, takes matters into her own hands. One evening, she arrives at the ruins of the shop, holding a small box. She doesn't speak at first, just places the box in front of him. Inside, he finds a collection of old family photos, pictures of his father, his mother, and the humble beginnings they shared. The photos are worn and faded, but each one tells a story of resilience, determination, and love. Mia's voice cuts through the silence, soft but steady. "This is who you are, Ethan. You come from strength. Your father would be proud of how far you've come. You're more than just a mechanic. You're a fighter." Her words ignite something deep inside him, and for the first time in weeks, he feels a spark of hope. He doesn't know how he'll rebuild, but with Mia by his side, he knows he won't face it alone. As they stand there, hand in hand, Ethan looks at her with a renewed sense of purpose. "I'll rebuild this, not just for me, but for us." Mia smiles, her eyes shining with pride. Days pass, and the process of rebuilding begins. With Mia's financial help and emotional support, Ethan starts to piece his life back together. As they work together to restore his shop, their bond deepens in ways neither of them expected. One night, after a long day of cleaning and repairing the walls of the building, they sit on the edge of the sidewalk, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. Mia leans against Ethan, her head resting on his shoulder. She's quiet for a long time, watching the horizon. Finally, she speaks, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you ever think about the future?" she asks. Ethan turns to her, his heart skipping a beat, as he realizes what she's asking. "I think about it every day. About what it could be. About how I want it to look." He pauses, his fingers brushing against hers. "I want you there, in my future." Mia smiles softly, turning her head to meet his gaze. "I never thought someone like you would want someone like me." Her words are hesitant, vulnerable, and for a moment, she looks unsure. Ethan gently cups her face in his hands, his voice firm with conviction. Mia, I don't care about who you used to be or what anyone else thinks. I care about who you are, who you've always been, and that's who I want by my side. There's a moment of silence as their eyes lock, the unspoken truth between them hanging in the air. And then, slowly, Ethan leans in and kisses her. The kiss is tender at first, almost hesitant, but as it deepens, both of them realize that this is no longer just a fleeting connection. It's the beginning of something much bigger. The future they had once feared is now a shared dream, full of possibilities. Just as things start to look up, a visit from Ethan's estranged mother threatens to disrupt everything. He hasn't seen her in years, and their relationship has always been complicated. When she shows up at the shop one morning, he feels a rush of mixed emotions, anger, confusion, and even a hint of longing. Mia notices the tension in his posture as he walks over to the woman who once walked out of his life. His mother, Marie, looks older, wearier, and there's a sadness in her eyes that Ethan can't ignore. "Ethan," she begins softly, "I know I have no right to ask, but I need your help." Ethan's gut tightens. The last time they spoke, she abandoned him and his father, and now she wants something from him? Mia stands a few feet away, watching the interaction, sensing the weight of the moment. After a long pause, Ethan finally speaks, his voice colder than he intends. "What do you need, Mom?" Marie takes a deep breath, then reveals that she's been battling health problems and has no one to turn to. Ethan's initial instinct is to push her away, but Mia steps forward, her hand resting on his arm. "You can't change the past, Ethan, but you can decide how you move forward." Ethan looks at Mia, her support giving him the strength to face the woman who abandoned him. With a heavy heart, he nods and tells his mother he will help her, but only if she's willing to be honest with him. The scene is raw and emotional as Ethan begins to confront his past and what it means for his future with Mia. As his mother walks away, Ethan feels a mixture of relief and sadness, but Mia's presence beside him assures him that whatever the outcome, they will face it together. As months go by, Ethan's business continues to grow, and his relationship with Mia strengthens. He realizes that his feelings for her have evolved into something deeper, something undeniable. One evening, after a long day of work, he asks Mia to meet him at the old warehouse where they first met, now fully rebuilt and thriving. The space is filled with the sounds of tools and machines, the scent of freshly cut metal lingering in the air. Mia arrives, puzzled but intrigued. Ethan stands by the door, his heart pounding in his chest. "I know we've been through a lot," he begins, his voice steady but emotional. "And I know that we come from two different worlds, but what we've built together, the trust, the love, it's something I never expected. And it's everything I want." He takes her hand and leads her to the center of the warehouse, where a small table has been set up with candles and flowers, creating a warm, intimate space amidst the industrial surroundings. "Mia," he continues, kneeling down on one knee, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" Mia's breath catches in her throat as she stares down at him, her eyes wide with shock and joy. For a long moment, she doesn't say anything, her hands trembling as she reaches for him. Finally, tears fill her eyes as she whispers, "Yes." Ethan slips the ring onto her finger, and as he stands, they embrace, their kiss sealing the promise of a lifetime together.